It's been a minute. Um, I haven't done these recaps in a long time. But yeah, new year, new way of operation is how it's gonna go. I'm gonna try and get a recap out every trade or every day, regardless of if I trade. Back to kind of, doing this online, giving me an online journal I can look back on and, see how I did, what I did, and, why I did it, if that makes sense. But something new is that I want to introduce scripture into, my videos, but specifically in the beginning. I feel like it's a great, refreshing little recap, kind of little, what, I'm trying to find the word, prerequisite, before we get into actual, worldly things. So yeah, it's kind of rough today doing this, it's been a minute. I was going to do the gospel. I was going to go over the gospel, but, it's mainly, Jesus Christ, how he's going to Galilee, Syria, and how he's healing people, whatever, we get that. But where I kind of found more, let's say, interest is the first reading. It's from John, and I'm just going to kind of go through it. So we receive from him whatever we ask, because we keep his commandments and do what pleases him. And his commandment is this: we should believe in the name of his Son, Jesus Christ, and love one another just as he commands us. Those who keep his commandments remain in him, and he in them. That's pretty important. Pretty important takeaway just right there. And the way we know that he remains in us is from the Spirit whom he gave us. Beloved, do not trust every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they belong to God. This is going into worldly spirit versus, godly spirit. And, this kind of leads to, because many false prophets have gone out into the world, this is how you can know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that acknowledges Jesus Christ come in the flesh belongs to God, and every spirit that does not acknowledge Jesus does not belong to God. So this is referring to a worldly spirit, certain things that, we shouldn't be doing in this world that essentially, is almost perceived as spiritual. The spirit is the Antichrist, who, as you heard, is to come, but in fact is already in the world. You belong to God, children, and you have conquered them. For the one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world. So Jesus in you is obviously more important and not more important maybe, but greater than one who's in the world. So me, myself, they belong to the world. Accordingly, their teaching belongs to the world. And back to what I was saying earlier, and the world listens to them. We belong to God, and anyone who knows this, God listens to us. Well, anyone who does not belong to God refuses to hear us. And this is how we know the spirit of truth and the spirit of deceit. So yeah, that's kind of what I want to, kind of do this more, from, now on, before I get into any kind of trade recap. It's a good way to go over, I would say the gospel of every day, but, we'll just do the first reading for, today. Today's kind of an off day. Just 'cause I thought it was a little better, in terms of, kind of what we do, about, what's a worldly spirit and what's godly spirit, because in trading it's easy to get caught up in all this worldly, monetary, materialistic stuff. But then, once you find that godly spirit, it all snaps back. All right, let's get into these charts. Let me do this real quick. All right, bet. So today was a tricky day, not gonna lie. Going into the day, I feel right back where I started. No lie. On the daily time frame, we are in a consolidation. Pretty nasty one too. But if you kind of paint through the lines, you can kind of get an idea of what is going on. So let me put my drawings back on. So yeah, I did this yesterday. I was kind of marking out our liquidity sweeps. And I just noticed, this is kind of where my eyes, came to. The most recent major swing low getting taken right here. Swing low gets taken. We break this high. We leave relative equal highs. So my week on the bullish, my bias on the week is bullish. That's what I'm looking for. I want to see if we could gravitate towards these relative equal highs. If not, that's okay. and I'll get, you know, invalidated if we, you know, break this low and continue lower. But that's besides the point. Going into today, I had this suspension block marked out, basically a fair value gap with 2 volume imbalances, and I had the quadrant levels on it, as well as I have all of our 3 new week opening gaps that were put in the past, you know, 3 weeks. So with that in mind, going into the session, you can see here that on the larger time frame, this is pretty bearish. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. You know, we swept this high, shifted below this low, and, you know, we look like, you know, this is market maker sell model to the downside. I wish I could rip off this photo on the wall and show you, but I wish I could find, yeah, this one right here. So, you know, you can kind of get a good idea of, you know, right here's our swing high. We run the swing high, we break that the swing low right here, and then we're looking for that short-term swing high in this 3 high sequence to break this low. And in this case, you know, we have this swing high got cracked, swing low, so broke this high, swept the liquidity, market structure shifted back to the downside, and we still have NWOG wide open. And, you know, this right here, I could expect a short-term high right here in my low risk sell area. So, you know, we'll see if we want to rally through here tomorrow, and going into, you know, the week, we will see. But, you know, that's the best part about intraday trading, is that you're able to see, you know, the move without needing to participate, essentially. You know, like, if I'm swing trading this and say I want to be shorting right now, but necessarily I don't know if I want to be shorting, you know, that's why being a day trader on these daily time frames, on these 1 minute time frames, is so important. You know, I was talking to my dad about, you know, he was like, why don't you want to go to this larger time frame, you know, go to a larger time frame. He's not a trader at all, you know, so he's just kind of seeing like online stuff. And he was like, you know, why don't you trade more larger time frame? Because, you know, the setups, or not necessarily setups, but the predictability is necessarily better because it's a large time frame. You know, it makes sense, larger time frame, larger power. But then you're waiting weeks for a setup, or a week for a setup, and, you know, I don't have time for that necessarily, you know, and that's just not my type of trading. So, you know, it's kind of what I told him. And the best thing about it is that it's all fractal. Whatever happens on that daily time frame happens on the 1 minute time frame, the 5 minute, the 15, the 30, everything. All right, before I get carried away, let's get in here. So yeah, we have this order block on the 1 hour. So we open up right around here at 9:30, and I'm like, you know, I want to see sells. Like, we've been rallying all night. There's nothing here for us to take with buy side, you know. So, like, I know we're not going to take this high. You know, I explicitly knew that we did not want to take this high. We have this 3 up close candles, an order block, or you have that one on the 1 hour right there. So yeah. Then I'm just gonna go on to the 1 minute time frame, because that's pretty much all we need here. Bam. So we are just rallying. Rally. 9:30, we get this, you know, rip up. Then we start to break down. And, you know, I'm trying to, you know, mark out relative RTH, regular trading hours gap. And, you know, I was expecting, you know, at least maybe constant encroachment, and then, you know, if we wanted to go lower, you know, I was expecting us to honestly go lower from here, or maybe, you know, even take this low and then go up and then back down. But we just barely swept this low. We didn't even tap an 8:30 open. Like, basically no discount, in my opinion. You know, that's kind of the weird part about this, is that, like, if you look on it, the 15 minute, is that, you know, we're kind of just filling in 2 fair value gaps, an order block, and you could argue a market maker buy model to the upside. But like I said, I was not interested in any buys. So, yeah, you know, we're sitting to all this chop, and there's no trade here because there's no fair value gap. You know, you know, if there was a fair value gap, you know, maybe, but the time is so early with 10 a.m. news, it's just not my cup of tea. Anyways, we get first presented right here at 9:52. You know, we react off at once, break below, close above, and then now we have 10 o'clock news. This comes all the way down. I seen this candle print, I was like, there's no way. comes all the way down. What is, oh, price is right here, I'm tripping. Comes all the way down and then rallies up, and then we rally, take the high. So once we take this high, I'm like, okay, our buy side swept again. I'm not seeing this high getting taken. Like, where else are we gonna go? You know what I'm saying? Like, where else are we gonna possibly go? So we see this high right here. We have a fair value gap right there. We reject off very nicely, and then I use this inverse and this fair value gap as an entry. And I wanted to see bare minimum this low get taken. And when I enter, you know, it's pretty good. Going down. I'm like, okay, you know, I'm about to go break even, or, you know, some sort of, you know, maybe risk off, put my stop loss at that high. But we literally just don't even hit it. We don't even hit it. And this is NWOG from, I don't know what week. But this shows that price is pretty bullish, you know, regardless of how efficient price is, you know, and how, you know, volatile, I should say. You know, we're not really volatile, kind of just stuck in this range. You know, it's like, price is pretty bullish. We don't want to reach NWOG. Why? So right here we have a high, a low. Right there is where we break our swing high. So, you know, I was expecting us to have a, you know, bullish move. You know, I knew that kind of, you know, if price is doing all this, you know, I canceled, you know, 50 there, 50 there. I had 3 cons on. 3 cons. So I took off one, and then, you know, ran the high during the macro time. Why didn't this work out? I don't really know. You know, I was going to wait for a 2-minute market structure shift below this low, but I was kind of expecting it, you know, with price getting really close to right here on the 1 minute to it. I was like, yo, you know, this is gonna come. This is good. And we have an order block right here. This big old order block, propulsion. I guess you got also propulsion. Doesn't matter, you know. So it was good that we started canceling, because you have a lot of time to cancel. Like, look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a bunch of candles in here that you can cancel your trade, because you know it's not, you know, gonna work out. You know, usually, if price wants to deliver, it's gonna deliver. You know, it's not gonna hang around. It's not gonna be, you know, what's going on. You know, no, it's just gonna get there. If, you know, kind of how it is. You know, 95% of the time. Anyways, let's get into something else. So, once I see this, I know I'm bearish on the day. You know, I still want to see sells. I'm not seeing us go to this high. I open up the chart, you know, around 12:45, 12:50, around there, because the macro's coming up, and I mark out this range of the gone box. I wanted to see us, you know, maybe come up into maybe a little bit of discount, and then retarget this low, something like that, you know, for the macro. I said, you know what, let me just wait for 130. Why am I rushing it? Let me just wait. So 130 hits. I see that we have, you know, basically all this sell side right here. Right here's a low. We swept it. But more importantly, it's called this low, not from 940, is still untapped. It's right there. You know, it's ready to go. Let me get to it. Bam. Okay. What am I seeing here? What am I actually seeing here, though? Hold on a second. This does look like a nice sell to the downside. If we tapped into that for rally gap, we didn't. So, you know, we could rally back up a little bit, but it's not even during the macro. But, you know, these lows are still in check. Getting a little sidetracked. Back to the market maker sell model. I'll mark it out this time so we can actually see it. It'll be a little bit better. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, so remember, I have a high, a low, a higher high, a lower low, lower high, lower low. A high, low, higher high, lower low, lower high. What can we see? Lower low, keep on going down. So then, you know, going, why do I not have, oh, I guess that makes sense. So yeah, going into this 250, no, not 250. Yeah, 150 macro. We're coming back into NWOG after getting this whole 15-minute market maker sell model to the downside. You know, I'm seeing price, you know, go down. There's no reason for us to be going up. Now we get on to the nitty gritty. Y'all better not steal my information. I swear. Back to break even on this bitch. Bro, I gotta tell you a story the other day. Alright, so right here was our NWOG, all that stuff. Something I was pretty, not worried, but let's say de-risked, you know, for, you know, like 50%, a good reason, and not trading it on the funded account. Great reason why. You know, I did not trade it on the Tradevate because of this. You know, we're in NWOG, we're above constant encroachment. We have this resting buy side above here. It's pretty strange. You know, in all honesty, you know, I would have expected us to take this high and then move lower, but that would mean leaving new week opening gap and then doing a bunch of, you know, buffoonery. Regardless, I didn't even have it set up because I was on my phone. I wasn't even on the actual chart itself. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, so what am I marking out that high for? I need a fair value gap. Bam. Okay, so we get this sweep of this internal high right here. I like this sweep because it took out this low. It took out that low, so it's a pretty big swing high. We took out the swing high, came into all this consolidation, back into NWOG in a macro time. Which is happening right there. Right there. And we have this resting sell side below, and I'm bearish from the day. This is a pretty class act setup. You know, there's nothing about this setup that I don't like. I'll stop at the high, target the low. Wow, if only I had a 1 to 4 risk to reward. I don't know where the hell my money went, but that's besides the point. That's besides the damn point. Anyways, yeah, we have this order block right here for value gap. We enter this for value gap. I'm really taking this sell. One of ICT's new things is waiting for value gap after a turtle sweep or, you know, liquidity sweep, anything. And it still relates to this exact thing. Gosh, man, I wish I could find what I have printed on my wall because I can't pick up my computer. But yeah, okay, I guess we use this. Oh my, you gotta be kidding me, man. Something ain't blurred, man. Alright, bet, right here. See? There's a fair value gap. In all, I mean, this is not even a valid one, in my opinion. Gotta go do another one. Perfect. Right here. Fair value gap. In a market maker sell model, or, you know, 2022 model, or whenever, does not matter. This is what Steve was saying in his videos, you know, most recent one. You need a fair value gap, or you don't even need it. You really want to see it. You know, if you have it, it'll be better for you. In this case, we can see price comes back down, we come up, we start to bodies respect or build in this fair value gap. You know, so I wasn't necessarily worried. Then once we break out and break this low, I can feel pretty confident that we're gonna head lower. And then when this candle gets put in relative equal lows, we can expect those to get ran. I went break even after we hit this low. And then from there, the macro was setting up, you know, the macro was setting itself up for this buy side sweep. But yeah, oh, I guess that's why, because I didn't take off my full position. I had 2 cons running. I shorted 8, I had left 2, added 5, no, added 3 here, and then got stopped above this high. A break even, you know. So yeah, you know, that was a trade. It makes a lot of sense. Everything in that trade made sense, regardless of, you know, whatever happened. But yeah, let me take screenshots. Well, I don't think I can take screenshots. when I'm making the video. But yeah, you know, it's a pretty clean day, you know, and I'm happy that I made up for this day. That day right there, I was chilling. Just got these 2 fresh accounts, and I'm like, you know, this looks like a good trade. Let's enter, risking $250. I didn't really check. You know, I checked on my computer on paper trading. All right, that's a good amount of risk. I enter. Turns out I'm 3 minis deep New York session, and I have a 500 personal daily loss limit. Immediately gets hit. Nothing I can do about it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was good to erase that day. That's unfortunate because I would have had a green day then, but you know, it's how it is. Maybe for the future, if I would have taken this trade on, you know, on the funded, it would have been good. Definitely would have been good. You know, I would have risked my steady, at least like $200. Yeah, and, you know, it would have been a really nice banger. But that's besides the point. That's besides the point. It don't matter. As long as I get the trade right and I execute at the right time, get all the stuff done, it's gonna be good. So yeah, you know, that's pretty much it. Great day. You know, I wish I took it on the funded. No regrets though, because you know that's not how it should be. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I got nothing. I think you know, that's actually kind of funny. It's exactly why you don't enter this stuff willy-nilly, because I'm still seeing these lows and all that. But like I said, I don't want to mess with Asian session. It's terrible. But yeah, you can see the market maker selling a lot of better from here. We have this high, the low, higher high, lower low, and then see that, isn't that surprising? Like, we didn't even want to come up out of it. We just, you know, NWOG is such a price restriction that it stayed in the top upper half, broke below, stayed in this lower half, came up in the upper half, immediately rejected, and then we got our setup on con-square encroachment. So pretty good day. You know, I like it, and I like how this looks too. I'm about to take a screenshot and put it on my posts so I can keep track of the actual trade and not just the see. And also in this sense, like, my stop loss was really fat, but it never ended up being like that. So, you know, that's how it is. But yeah, that's all I got for y'all. First video back. I'm excited to get back into this. It's definitely gonna help me with my discipline. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So y'all stay safe. Peace out, and I'll see you tomorrow.